Next up, let's look at Solana. This was basically just requested a lot by the people on Twitter. Now, I know this chart looks kind of messy, but it's because I've already, well, as I've said, I've already recorded this once. So let me just break down what's happening on Solana. Firstly, we were pretty spot on with the short-term bull target, given that it has been hit, but it did go just a little bit further. Actually, it did go quite a distance further. So let's actually see like where it went to, and turns out it actually came all the way to this fair value gap here to fill in the imbalance. And I believe that that is the target for Solana at the moment. And when I say that is the target, here's what I mean. Basically, the way that I predict if price is going to go up or down depends on whether or not liquidity has been filled. And this is a pretty significant liquidity level, and that has already been filled. So when this happens, what I look for in order to predict if, the price is going to go into a bearish trend is to see if there is any sort of market structure break or change of character, or just indication that the smart money wants to bring Solana lower. And at the moment, I do see that in the form of, let's just say, a change of character here, where this previous swing low gets closed below, and then price fails to make a new high, and then it even makes a new low. So right now, as of the very moment that we're recording this video, Solana has already, I believe, switched into a sell program, which means that any pumps in the future should be shorted. And this is basically just by virtue of the concept that I talked about when we were discussing Bitcoin, where in a sell program, any sort of buy-side liquidity sweep, for example, buy-side liquidity sweep, leads to lower lows. Because I want you to think of the markets as though as it was a car, and as a car, it needs fuel to go up or down. And where do you get this fuel? Well, basically below previous swing lows and above previous swing highs. This is called liquidity. So once you get liquidity, that now you have enough fuel to go further and to go faster. So for example, right now, if you take out this previous high here, which you were in the process of doing, that could be a short trigger. However, price is still holding kind of strong here. So I do expect Solana to go like slightly higher up to the $26, $27 area. And I'll explain why. Now, you might have noticed this big blue box in the middle, and that's a concept that I was discussing where a lot of people might get impatient at the middle here, because if you look at this white line here, that is known as the 0.5, but that is the mid-range of the range between this high and this low. So what happens is that a lot of the times you tend to get a bounce from the 0.5. Where, price finds support here and, it starts bouncing. But the problem here is that a lot of people tend to get impatient and they start going long here, and like 7 to 8 out of 10 times price does not give such a nice bounce, because I need you to understand this, which is the fact that there is a chop zone. Basically, this is the 0.705. If you were to break down any given range into 4 parts of like 25%, 25%, 25%, something like that, then you have 4 quadrants. And this middle quadrant here is where most people lose all of their money, because this is known as the chop zone, because this is where the market makers tend to range the markets, right? Remember that as traders, we make the most money when it is trending. Moves like this is what we want. When you are in a ranging market, that's a little bit more suboptimal. So right now we are well within the chop zone, and the chop zone is from here, right? About $26, like $26.50 to right about $22.40. Basically, any range between this price here, you are still in a premium, but not enough in a premium, right? The market makers always like to buy things in a deep discount and sell things in a deep premium, not anywhere in the middle, right? That's why it's called a chop zone. Right now, anything below the 0.705 is still considered just like a normal premium. It would be like me selling you an iPhone for like $1,500 instead of $2,000. The difference of which could be an extra $500 of profit, which is significant when you're talking about an iPhone that costs $1,000. So the market makers will always look to sell you an iPhone at $2,000 rather than $1,500 if they can make it happen, which they can. So right now, I do expect Solana to either range around this area or just come up to, buy side liquidity, for example, right here at $26.26. You sweep the buy side, or even just sweep somewhere around $27 or even $27.50. These 3 levels, as you can see, like I have marked out like 3 alerts, 1, 2, and 3. Basically, around these areas is where you want to look for that buy side liquidity sweep, and then you want to look for the markets to form a change of character lower before you look for a short. So how does a change of character look like? Basically, you get a swing low that forms, but then price breaks below the swing low, forming a lower low, and then price comes back above. That is your lower high. That is your opportunity to enter the market. Alternatively, you can also wait for the second break and then wait for the next retrace. That will be much higher confirmation, but basically that's just what you look for Solana. At the moment, I don't think it's going to go higher, although there is a chance that it might, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit. As for the targets for the short, again, remember that this entire block here is like the chop zone. So the first target, in my opinion, Solana would be at $16. This would be roughly about a 50% drop, almost like 40%. And that's target number one. That's your TP1. TP2 is going to be range lows at 1450. And then this is like really, really long term. I don't think Solana is going to get here anytime soon, but you know, around 950. You can actually just ignore that for now. But overall, on the higher time frame, this is what I think is going to happen on Solana. But we cannot disregard the bullish scenario as well. Basically, if you look at the daily chart right now, this is starting to look like around the bottom, in the sense that this is like around the bottom. For those of you who are not familiar with retail trading concepts, is a pretty bullish scenario. For example, right now you have just gotten the a case where you sweep sell side liquidity right here, and then now you're forming a new high, right? So at least on the lower time frame, price is already in a bullish trend. The key to succeeding in the markets is to identify whether this bullish trend is going to translate to the higher time frame, or if it's just a retracement. For example, if price is doing something like this on the higher time frame, when you're looking at the lower time frame, this part here could look like a really bearish trend, and you would be very inclined to short it. But then you fail to realize that it's just on a larger time frame, it's just a little retracement before forming new highs. So the key here lies in identifying the high time frame bias in order to form your trades. And by the way, I teach this fully. Like, there's 2 to 3 hours worth of content just covering this alone in Trading Accelerator, which is my free trading course. So if you haven't signed up already, like, what are you doing? You can find the link to sign up to the waitlist in the description box below. I will be doing another intake very shortly. So basically, short-term Solana is bullish. Basically, you can look to go long on Solana until it either shows signs that it wants to break lower, following the parameters and following the steps that I showed you just now, or at key levels. For example, here you have a lot of buy side liquidity that you just swept. Here you maybe start to look for it to do what it wants to, like what I taught you earlier, or you can just go long until you hit either one of these 3 levels, and then you start looking. Basically, like, the key is to just identify the direction and then just going into the lower time frame, because whatever I talk about here is going to be a non-factor once you go into the 5-minute chart. Like, for example, the 4-hour chart, the distance between this price here until here does not look like it's very far, but the moment I go into a 5-minute chart, oh, now look at the possibilities. The possibilities are endless, basically. Like, I can take a trade like that and even just target a random place, and that's like a 13-hour trade. And if you do target, where the alert is set, that's about a 15-hour trade. So there is still a bunch of opportunities. Right now, what I'm giving you is a high-level overview of the bullish and bearish direction for Solana. Now, is there a chance that Solana is bullish? Well, if it is, maybe this is just long term, this is just a retrace. Solana is going to go for the bull target, which is right at about $37. This is TP number 1, which is the previous high here within this trading range from this high to this low. This TP number 1, bull target, $37. This, if Solana is indeed bullish and this is just a retracement, then the bull target, you can expect it to be hit within the next couple of months, assuming that Bitcoin doesn't just shit the bed. But otherwise, you can also look for this level here at around $39.65 and also $42 to act as potential resistance on the way to the ultimate bull target, which is, in my opinion, right here at $46.5. I'm not going to get into my take on how good of an investment Solana is for the long term. I do have it in my bag, but right now it's too early for us to talk about bull run stuff, because the Federal Reserve has not yet cut rates and we are still expecting a recession to hit anytime soon. So no bull run talk here, but this is the high level overview of Solana, and hopefully you'll be able to use this information to your benefit. And if you've enjoyed this video, drop a like and subscribe for more. And don't forget to join Trading Accelerator. It is literally free and so much value there. You have nothing to lose. Sign up to the waitlist in the link in the description box below, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.